gonna look stupid than a motherfucker.
That's how we're starting 2023 with a little bit of banter before we even start the show. Welcome, everybody, to a brand new live episode of Game Time, the first one of 2023. Happy New Year from me, the Outlaw, John Rocha, and my co-host right there, Winston A. Marshall. Winston, how are you? Have you recovered? Are you excited? Your Cowboys on the precipice of maybe taking the NFC East division. Where are you? How are you?
Oh, it's a good day. I got an early Christmas present. Then I got a even earlier New Year's present. I didn't even know we get New Year's presents. And here we are. Eagles being fuck ups. I love it. You lost to the Saints, bro. I love the Saints. They're my second favorite team in the NFL. Drew, the house that Drew built.
Yeah.
How? They are so bad this year. How did you do this? And I get it. You don't have Jalen Hurts. If anything, the only thing I'll say out of that preemptively is I don't think I've seen a stronger argument for Jalen Hurts to be the MVP than that. And it would take specifically, I don't think he earns it unless he's able to come back. And that's not necessarily on him. It's just how his body's doing. If he comes back, he wins this last game, secures the division. I think it's how you don't unanimously vote for Jalen Hurts is kind of wild. Because they lost one game under his reign if he does that, and clearly is the linchpin that keeps them together. But if you don't make it back, then I feel like you got to give it to Patty Mahomes just based off of what they did, et cetera, et cetera. But Eagles lost twice, and we caused one of them. We started the domino effect, so I'm here for it.
Yeah, maybe even Josh Allen should be in the consideration right now, as he's got the best record in the AFC side of things, and certainly he's been doing great work over the last few weeks and leading the Bills through a tough back half of their schedule into the number one slot so far in the AFC. That's another name that could be consideration. Hell, I throw Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers in the mix, which we'll get to a little bit later, because neither one of those teams would be smelling the playoffs without either of those two guys. Even at the end, even at the beginning with their terrible starts, at the end, they're showing up when they need to. Listen, you ain't as good as you were all the time when you're old, but you're as good once as you were ever before. So I certainly
want to try that again.
I think Toby Keith said it, right? I'm as good once as I ever was. That's what he said. Once, that's for sure.
Oh my God.
That's a great call, by the way. We're going to get into all the stuff going on in the world of the NFL week 17. Thank you all so much for putting up with me taking a week off. I needed a week off. It's been a stressful fucking year in 2022. So I needed a whole week where I wasn't focusing on videos, got to watch what I wanted to watch instead of stuff I need to watch for the channel, and watch sports, relax without thinking about, oh God, I got to talk about this. I got to talk about that. So thank you all so much. And I will be doing something later on today on the Outlaw Nation channel, but this is the Game Time channel. And because it is the Game Time channel and I'm devoted to the Game Time channel, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. 2023 is the new year. Do new things, do great things. One way to give back is to subscribe to the channel here and hit that bell button so you see we're dropping all the content, sports content we're doing here on Game Time. Winston and I coming to you every Monday having discussions about the NFL, and today is no different for sure. And remember, the Streamlabs are open. Give some support, send some support. I pinned it in the chat. It's there on the graphics, and it's in the description of the video as well. So send in some love here on this day after New Year's Day as we start off 2023 on a positive note. All right, Winston, let's jump into the first game here. And I got to start with these Packers. Aaron Rodgers, who we had buried, who we were ready to put the headstone on and kick his mulleted ass out the door of the NFL, has somehow brought his Packers within one game of the NFL playoffs. They absolutely destroyed the Minnesota Vikings here, 41-17. It wasn't even that close, for God's sakes. He threw a touchdown pass, ran for a score, didn't have a strong line. He was only 15 of 24 for 159 yards. But the Packers got themselves 4 turnovers off Minnesota, including 3 interceptions off Kirk Cousins, with Darnell Savage having a 75-yard pick six off Kirk Cousins. And now, after having started 1-7 and dropping to 4-8, they haven't lost since, and they are on the precipice possibly of the playoffs. And the Vikings have been looking suspect over the last few weeks. Even though they've been able to come back and pull off those games, they finally had the clock strike midnight on their Cinderella asses as Kirk Cousins showed you what happens when Kirk Cousins is in a big game. He chokes. So you talk to me, Winston, what you take away from this game for both of these teams here as we look to a Week 18 matchup with the Packers taking on the Lions for a berth in the playoffs and the Vikings trying to lick their wounds as they come out of this game.
I have what the biggest takeaway I have from this, and this was always what was suspect about them in the first place. I have zero faith in the Vikings. I have zero faith in the Vikings, both because I never trusted Kirk Cousins. He has been the most mediocre ass mother. Like, people love to come for Dak, and don't get me wrong, Dak has his flaws. But at the very least, I can count on Dak to do certain things. I cannot count on Kirk Cousins to do anything. Kirk Cousins was made to look above average this year because of Justin Jefferson, and Justin Jefferson got held to one ball this year. One. He had 5 targets, but he was able to pull in 1. I do not trust him as far as I can throw them, and it's wild because I have Dalvin Cook, and I needed homie to cook for me, no pun intended, for this championship. He didn't really do much for me, man. He an overall of, it looks like 40-something, 44 yards for scrimmage. Like, that's not going to get it done
at all.
So, like, the Vikings have been sus, and it's just for this reason. For the losses, we have the same amount of losses, and we're both 12-4, right? The difference is none of our losses have been blowouts. All of our losses have been very close. You kind of drop the ball at the end, which is its own set of problem, but you can deal with that because you also can look back at some of those games where we're down and we rally and we handle business, like beating the Eagles last week. So you knew I was going to bring it up. We didn't have a show. You knew I was going to find a way to work it in.
Of course.
But I never count on Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady, period. Even end of discussion. No matter how old they are, no matter how suspect they are. The fact that
no matter how much former Cowboy Michael Irvin tries to tell you to count them out on the pregame shows on NFL Game Day, do not count out Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. You're right.
You can't. You genuinely can't, man. And that's crazy. And the funny thing is it's not just who they are throwing the ball. Let's be 100% honest. There is a massive reason why one of the stories this year has not only been Brady deciding to unretire and come back and being like, why would you do this? You're looking like Jordan on the Wizards. We use that analogy specifically because if you remember, Jordan on the Wizards was not Michael Jordan, but Jordan on the Wizards was still an all-star. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
got 45 in Madison Square Garden against the Knicks. Yes. Yeah.
He's like, that's still a really, really, really top of the class player. It's just not the legendary player. So it's kind of the same, and you would get flashes of it. So the same thing, you're seeing these flashes of legendary Brady yesterday with 200 yards alone to Mike Evans and 3 touchdowns, let alone what else he did here. But
we'll get to that one for sure.
But it's the leadership. That's what it is. It's people were talking about why Russell Wilson colossally failed and why Tom Brady has been thriving has been because people come onto the team. Tom goes up to them and goes, hey, you're new guy on the squad. Like, I would be like, I watched you play. That's amazing. I'm Tom. Who are you? What's your story? Like, he cares. Whereas Russell Wilson would be like, what's up, Russ? And he's like, call my manager. Don't talk to me. That's not the intangibles. That's why Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady are as good as they are. And it's terrifying because it comes up in moments like this where these old fossils will not fucking die.
Man, they're the old man on the court popping threes. And you're like, God damn it, stop it. You can't stop him. He's out there with the beer gut, but still able to pop threes from the corner and keep their team in contention. It is so frustrating because they understand what to do. Economy of effort. Aaron Rodgers knew he had to get this team right. Week by week, he was putting more and more trust into his receivers. Christian Watson certainly becoming an all-star over the last few weeks here for the Packers, doing their thing. And Aaron Rodgers carrying them verbally sometimes, emotionally other times, physically, and then getting involved with the celebrations even here throughout this game. And also the ego. You cannot discount the arrogance and the ego of Aaron Rodgers in this situation. Look, I know most of us hate arrogant people, conceited people, egotistical people, but to succeed for a majority of the time in the sports, you have to have that unending belief in yourself, unshakable belief in yourself, and will people to come and meet you on that level. And not everyone can do it. Not every quarterback can do it. Aaron Rodgers is one of those guys that can do it. And the team has stepped up here and really rallied around him and played well over these last few weeks. And you could discount some of their victories, the Bears, the Dolphins on reeling, whatever, but still you've got victories here. And now stepping up in this incredible game against the Vikings and tearing them to pieces. And you've got the Lions coming to your den. And certainly, if there's anything the Packers know what to do, is to demolish the Lions in Lambeau. So this is going to be a fascinating game next week between both of these teams. It's the immovable object versus what? The
unstoppable force, immovable object. Yeah. But I'll be honest with you. Yeah. I actually have the Lions setting down to this Cinderella story. Wow. I think
you're going to take Jared Goff over Aaron Rodgers in a critical game in December in Lambeau?
No, I'm taking the Lions as a unit over Aaron Rodgers.
Okay. All right.
This is Jared Goff is playing very well right now, but no, I'm not taking Goff. I'm taking that this team. No, I'm serious. This team has done something kind of magical that I honestly believe. I do not expect them to go very far in the playoffs. They might win one game, but I see them beating the Packers because there's a different energy coming out of Detroit this year.
Yeah,
and
you're right.
It's been showing since Hard Knocks. Yeah. So I just genuinely have a situation here where I think Aaron Rodgers will put up a ridiculous game. It's going to be a slobber knocker back and forth. Okay. But I'll be honest with you, the Vikings just have for their 12-4 victory.
Yeah.
It's always about watching someone how they are in defeat. They feel soft. It reminds me a lot of it's funny, draft day was brought up for a different reason for Russell Wilson, this idea about nobody going to his birthday party weeks ago.
Right.
But there's a really funny sequence, rest in peace to Chadwick Boseman, where he's taught his character is like, yo, he was playing a linebacker. He was like, go and watch this star quarterback you're thinking about drafting and watch how he acts under pressure. Aaron Rodgers can handle him. The Vikings remind me of that quarterback where when things go wrong, they self-destruct. They don't have anybody that's there to get them to get their head on straight and to finish the job. They have to be in it the whole time. If they do not find a way to answer early, they don't really recover. That's what these losses look like. You got destroyed by both us and the Packers, embarrassingly so. So, I just do not have faith that if the chips are down, that the Vikings will rally to do what needs to be done. That's just not in their DNA.
Yeah, 2 blowouts on your loss meter. The other one close to a blowout. I mean, 24-7 is essentially a blowout for a low-scoring game. And then a close loss here when you lost the Giants 34-20, or Lions rather, 34-23. Those are not good things to have on your resume. For all that talk, all the gold chains, all the dancing around half naked on the plane, and even getting Shefty involved in it, it all ain't going to matter because it seems like when you get punched in the mouth by a good team, not the Colts, by a good team, rallying is really not within your wheelhouse to win the game. And I know they've won these one-score games and all of that nonsense. But as I said last time or 2 weeks ago, Bill Barnwell wrote great columns for years talking about how these teams in these one-score games who are doing so incredibly well, eventually it evens out. And it seems like it's going to start to even out here as we head into the postseason. And we'll see what version of the Vikings we're going to get in the postseason. Is it the team that everyone knew was going to show up and not going to be good and choke? Or is it the team that's going to override all these chokers, got something to prove with a chip on their shoulders and ride it all the way into the Super Bowl? We shall see for sure. But I always question them because Kirk Cousins, I've never had faith as a Commanders fan in Kirk Cousins. But I need your thoughts real quick before we move on to the next game here. Winston, thoughts on the gritty here from Jair Alexander as he stopped Justin Jefferson. Do we like this gritty? Come on now, right in his face. Right in his face. In the face. So you tell me, what do you think about this? Was that well choreographed and well done here, just right in his face?
Just tap dancing on his grave. Let's go. I'm here for it, bro. I am 1,000% here for it. And I it's funny. I see someone in the chat saying that if the Vikings, if the playoffs started today, they would play the Giants.
Jeremy Miller.
I don't think they would beat the Giants. I honestly don't. We have their number. but I give the Giants credit that like this is a scrap, knock you in the mouth 9-6-1. Like they're not to be laughed at.
Yeah.
You need to be concerned, not overly concerned, like trying to play the Niners. I think honestly, the most dangerous team in the NFC out of the playoffs right now are the Niners. Like I'm not, even with Hurts back, I'm genuinely, after seeing how they got handled 2 games.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about the Eagles. The Niners genuinely scare me.
Yeah, as they should, for God's sakes, because they got all they could handle. We're going to talk about it a little bit later from the Raiders, and we're able to bounce back and get the victory. Sean Brennan says, "No faith in Cousins. How's his replacements doing, Rocha? Doing terribly. Well, what do you want me to say? They're all terrible. Wentz is terrible. Heineke's not that great because he was turning over the ball, even though we were winning the games. He was turning the ball too much, and we're going to get to all of that. But certainly, none of his replacements have been well. I wouldn't want Cousins back in Washington anyway. I don't like to get teased and then not get satisfaction. It doesn't make any sense. So Cousins will tease you and blue ball the fuck out of you. I had many seasons of blue balls from Kirk Cousins. No thanks. No thanks. All right. Let's move on to the next game here, and that is the Tom Brady Bowl here. Tom Brady took care of business here, rallying his Buccaneers to a victory over the Carolina Panthers, who had all of a sudden become frisky and possibly threatening to win the division. The Bucs, Brady rallied them to a 30-24 victory. He threw for 432 yards, which was a season high, and 3 touchdowns to Mike Evans, all of them over 30 yards. He had 0 touchdowns over 30 yards coming into the game and got 3 of them in one game to Mike Evans. You wonder to yourself, how the hell did they not make this work before when you had Mike Evans in the games in previous situations here? So really surprising, but they came from behind to win this game. Evans had 10 catches for 207 yards. As I said, scoring on 63, 57, and 30-yard touchdowns here. Became the first player in NFL history to begin a career with 9 consecutive seasons with 1,000 yards plus receiving. That's incredible. No other NFL receiver has ever done that. None. Not Jerry Rice, not Randy Moss, not Terrell Owens. No one has done that. Only Mike Evans, which is an insane stat to think about. And he'd be like the 40th person, I would think, before I got to Mike Evans that would have that stat for sure. The Panthers were up 21-10, just 10 seconds into the fourth quarter after Darnold had thrown his 3rd touchdown pass. And then Brady launched this comeback here, and they got the job done. Is this about Brady? Is this about a mental breakdown of the Panthers? They were making some mistakes there at the end of the half or end of the game. Or do you think this is a Buccaneers thing and they're rallying around Tom Brady now that they've won the division?
There's a couple of answers here.
Yeah.
There's a number of things. The first is, for my anime fans, I know that Goku is typically the one that's talked about as being like the GOAT amongst like the fighters, amongst the Saiyans. Brady is very much a Vegeta type where he's like, I'm the man, I'm the shit, and then he gets humbled.
Yeah.
But in other moments, you go, oh, we should not have trifled with this man. And when I tell you, his pride kicked in, he goes, you think the Panthers are going to take the division from me? The Carolina Panthers. And my guy went off.
Yeah.
Absolutely obliterated them. Now, mind you, okay, I need to apologize to Mike Evans.
Yeah.
Mike Evans isn't that guy. But Mike Evans is not to be trifled with, all right? He is not to. You were going to put some respect on that man's name. Like, you have to. Mike Evans ain't Randy Moss, all right? Mike Evans ain't Michael Irving. He ain't Jerry Rice. He's not in that T.O. Ocho Cinco. He's not in the talk of these guys that like unsurpassed, unmitigated talent, never question it, almost always available to handle their business. Larry Fitzgerald back in the day.
Larry.
Julio Jones before this stretch of injuries that he's a very different player now, but Julio Jones in his peak. Mike Evans is never any of those guys. But if Mike Evans got the opportunity, he could make big games happen. And my God, the insane, dude. I am just praising Allah, bro, that in the championship, my opponent did not have Mike fucking Evans. That would have been fresh hell that I was not ready for.
No, for sure. And, I just like the fact that they stepped up here and they needed to. Look, the Panthers were giving them all they could handle. I don't know. It's so weird. The Bucs are such a weird team. They're a team that kind of needs to go down to all of a sudden wake up and realize how good they actually are. I mean, are they the dangerous team that is just waiting for the playoffs, that they kind of turn it off, turn it on, turn the switch thing, and they got caught a few times thinking they could turn the switch on, didn't come on, and now they're starting to feel this rhythm, this pattern? It's scary to me. If the Packers handle their business next week, which we'll get to in a little bit, I would not want to face a Brady-led Buccaneers team or a Aaron Rodgers-led Packers team in the playoffs if they're firing on all cylinders. We've seen this before. Giants entering in as a wild card under Eli, going all the way to the Super Bowl and beat the Patriots. If they're in a rhythm.
But while I get that,
yeah,
the Bucs have not shown me that they're dangerous. They've shown me that, don't trifle with them. Be aware.
For sure.
The only dangerous team in the NFC, I stand by my statement, is the 49ers. Not a single other team is genuinely dangerous at this point.
Yeah.
The Eagles are also not to be trifled with. They're probably the second most dangerous team to look at, but they have been proven they can be handled. Nobody has proven they can handle the 49ers since they stopped losing. They have not stopped losing. It's terrifying the what they've gotten into. The Panthers, good for the run that they were on, but you've had trouble at the quarterback situation this entire time, from Baker to Darnold to who knows who else this entire time. You let go of your best player by far. You traded him over to make the most dangerous team in fucking football.
Yeah.
And the rest of it is cool. You had a receiver.
Fired your coach in season.
Fired your coach.
Yeah. Matt Rule.
I don't see, Carolina, cool if you had done it because Brady was just that fucked up. But the one thing you have to remember about a Tom Brady, the same thing we said about Aaron Rodgers, they have mastered how to win. Yeah. They don't always do it consistently, but when their back is against the wall is when you really have to be concerned. That being said, the Bucs have proven this year that they don't necessarily have the sauce like that. There are teams that are a complete package every time.
Yeah.
And so with Brady in the playoffs, you need to keep your head on a swivel. But right now we're slated to play them. I am not scared of the Bucs. We will handle the Bucs. That's not an issue.
Okay.
But good for Brady for showing him why he's the GOAT, because that's what this game was. And good on Mike Evans for making sure everybody remember his name too. That's shit. True.
Please, somebody clip that out of Winston saying he's not worrying about Brady in the playoffs.
I'm not.
If they play him not.
If we play them first, if we play them first, I'm not scared. If anything, the only thing I would say at the end of it is we're a bunch of fuck ups. We should have won that game. I'm not scared of the Bucs. This is a team that we very clearly, we are different than we were in week one. There is no reason we should lose to this team.
Yeah. Fair enough. Todd Bowles saying Jerry Miller saying Todd Bowles deserves some credit. Yeah, possibly. I'll give him some credit. Certainly, if he's going to get all the blame for them not doing so well near the beginning of the season or the first half of the season, he certainly deserves credit for them figuring it out and putting it together to win the NFC South, because that was the only way they were getting in. I don't think they were going to get in with a wild card. So they won here the division. They're in now as a division winner. They will host a playoff game, and so that's a good thing for Tom Brady. We'll see what the end result will be. My God, if Tom Brady is sitting at the top of the mountain one more time after all the shit he's been through this season, I think that would be the greatest accomplishment of his entire effing career, and he should not come back ever again. End there with the ring, with the trophy, and roll on to other things in your life, for God's sakes. One last game we'll get to before we jump into the first break of the show here, and that's the Giants routing the Colts here. I put this in because the Giants made the playoffs, so you got to give them their love. They took care of business, defeated these hapless Colts 38-10, who are definitely tanking the season. I don't give a fuck what Jeff Saturday says. They are tanking the season here. 38-10, they won. It's the first time the Giants have reached the playoffs since 2016, and I thought for sure they were cooked. I thought my Commanders were going to beat them back to back, but they showed a lot of resiliency and they showed a lot of strength here. And Daniel Jones just quietly doing the job with these Giants. And Thibodeau is one of those guys that is leading that defense. So let's get your thoughts on this game, and then let's get your thoughts on the Thibodeau situation with Foles, which I will show people. So what do you think overall here? What do you take away from this? This was a demolishment of the Colts. You beat the teams you're supposed to beat in the near the end of the season if you're to be taken seriously as a playoff contender. So what do you take away from this game about the Giants?
Just that again, hold on. I need to check something first.
Okay.
Okay, you put it in the best of the rest. I was gonna say here, I'm gonna put an image up. I need you to show everybody this. You're not gonna be happy. I'm just gonna let you know ahead of time, but it's worth it.
It's not about Major Tubby, is it? Because I'm not putting up anything about Major Tuddy. It just
no. Okay, it's fine. Go ahead.
What is this?
It's this,
this
totally
image
right here.
100%
true. It's the NFC East teams this season.
It's the 100% true. I mean, I thought that was going to be the Giants, and it ended up being us. So 100% true. I'm not going to deny that. We are absolutely that for sure.
And so
it sucks.
I'm just definitely laughing at the fact that like. You gotta be honest. The NFC East teams genuinely handled their business, and you guys did as well as you could. You just didn't. I think your big mistake, and we'll talk about it later, is you should have let Heineke finish.
Yes, 100%.
Wentz ain't the guy. You should have let Heineke try and finish that game, and let him start that game. But whatever, you did what you did. The Giants, I don't trust them to go far in the playoffs, but I always trust them to get into the playoffs.
Okay.
That they had gotten enough of a head start.
Yeah.
That a lot of these other teams were scrapping to grab them, and you tied New York the first time, you lost the second.
We did.
And that was the thing that gave them the edge.
Yeah.
I was gonna say this about one or the other. I felt a little stronger because I trust Barkley more.
Right.
But I also don't like he as injury prone and it has up and down his games have been, so, but I wasn't necessarily concerned with this game. Mm-hmm. There's no reason that the Colts should ever be on anybody's mind because Jeff Saturday ain't a coach. He might be sometime down the line, but he is not right now. And all this game did is further upset me. As much as I like Jeff Saturday, and he seems like a wonderful dude. I like his analysis, all that kind of stuff. He had a great career as a player. Yeah. This coaching shenanigans have pissed me off from the start. Yeah. And I honestly am happy. I'm sad for the players that have to deal with it. I'm happy that the Colts are getting that slap in the face wake up. You should have put a qualified coach in that position, not your friend. Your friend is qualified, fine, but your friend was not qualified, so that was nonsense.
Yeah, there's certain situations where you want to have recording equipment and you want to force owners, people involved in these conversations to have to release their text messages and their emails. And this is one of those situations. What happened behind the scenes here? Irsay is saying all he wants out in front of the camera. Oh, I like Jeff Saturday. I cheer for him. I wanted to make this a long-term thing. I believe in him as a coach. But what's the actual truth here? What were you really doing by hiring a guy like this? Because no owner should be this colossally stupid and be allowed to keep owning a team. And on the other side of things, Rich Eisen said this. You brought this up. We'll talk about it later a little more in depth. But Rich Eisen said, tweeted about it this morning and said there should be a 30 for 30 explaining why Ron Rivera chose to start Carson Wentz over Tyler Heineke. And I 100% agree with that shit. I think there's some shenanigans going on behind the scenes that Ron is caught up in because Ron is a company man. He's loyal. Some people are just built to be like, look, if the man signs my paycheck, I'm going to do what he tells me to do. Some guys are built like that. And I wonder if Ron got caught up in this nonsense. And Danny didn't want the team to go to the playoffs because guess what? Danny's going to sell the team. So he doesn't want that team to go and succeed and be successful and whatever. He wants to kind of maybe undercut it. I don't know. There's got a lot of questions about the whole situation because it made no sense to me. And after he threw 3 interceptions or even the first 2, why are you not making that change at halftime? Because the team clearly wasn't rallying around him. So there are questions to be asked on both of these things for sure. But yeah, at the end, the Giants took care of business. They're in the playoffs now. Shout out to them. Congratulations to them. But let's take a look at this Thibodeau thing and see what your thoughts on are, Winston. Because this was a lot of controversy here. This was a hit that Thibodeau had on Nick Foles. And let me turn the sound down so we won't get in trouble here. He hits him there, but then he does snow angels. You clearly see Nick Foles rallying around or writhing on the ground while he's doing snow angels, but he looks over. Thibodeau claimed that he didn't know that Foles was hurt, but you can see him look over at Foles As we're watching this, let me point it out. Like right there it is. There's the look. He makes the look. So him claiming that he didn't see him, I think it doesn't hold water in my mind. But I kind of like this one. This one works really well for me. People comparing it to
Would Buck had a heart attack? No, come on, man. That's dirty. That's so dirty. He thinks it's another snow angel, but he's having a heart attack. I remember that episode. Look, here's the thing.
Yeah, tell me about what happened, because Thibodeau can be a bit of an ass. So was he caught up in the game and didn't give a shit? What do you think happened?
Just based off of what I saw at the beginning, I was like, ooh, that's not a good look, but it's fine. Then I saw him look over. I said, oh, bro, come on.
Yeah.
Now you're a piece of shit. Because then what he should have done, if let's say he looks over and he still didn't understand that Foles was hurt, when he stood up, he was aware. You know what he should have done is immediately run over, oh my God, I didn't understand. Nope.
Right.
He looked over, he clearly saw him, and if he didn't see him, he didn't apologize after the fact. No. Fuck that dude. I would have been okay with it if he had stopped or if he had apologized when he realized he effed up. But no, that's classy. That's classless.
Yeah.
That's not good.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, because that to me is you can actually, and you can hear the player. Some of these analysts were trying to say the ground or the field is a lot louder than you think. Bullshit. You're lying next to a guy. I don't care how fucking loud it is. You're going to hear them writhing in pain. And if you look over and you see that they're like, their legs are kicking, their arms in, then you get up. And you're right. If he had gotten up, turned around, and immediately was like, oh my God, talking to the other players there on the Colts and saying like, I didn't know, sorry about that, like checking in them. Lawrence Taylor is a great example of this. Lawrence Taylor snapped Joe Theismann's leg, which you guys have seen if you've watched any kind of replay of that. It is.
I haven't seen that.
You've never seen that? It is horrific. He snapped Theismann's leg, not on purpose. It was on a tackle. And as soon as he saw what he had done, he jumped up and motioned for the Washington Redskins trainers to run onto the field and address the situation with Theismann. As brutal and vicious and ruthless as Lawrence Taylor was, he knows there's a line you don't cross. What Thibodeau was doing here is a little bit of a bitch move, in my opinion, and I didn't like it. I don't like the look of it, and I think he should be asking and lying, saying he didn't see him when there's evidence that you did look over and see him writhing in pain is an even worse thing to do. The cover-up is always worse. Just accept the hit, say you're sorry, pay the fine, move on. But you know, it's that kind of thing they teach you, they train you.
God, that's bad, bro.
Have you never seen it?
Oh no. Yeah. I didn't even wait for them to show it. It's still the part, but he wasn't. The one difference too is he wasn't cheering afterwards. He immediately stood up and was like, yo.
He's heard the snap. He heard the snap. So yeah, that's what you're supposed. Look, I don't get. Be as ruthless as you want to be. You're a defender. Your job is to be as ruthless as you need to be to get the job done. I get it. But once you hurt somebody for real, then humanity has to kick in. Some level of humanity has to kick in and handle that. So we'll see what the end result's going to be that for Thibodeau. We shall see. I am Two Fly Cam sent in. Rocha, your Commanders cost me $250 yesterday. Why were you betting on the Commanders?
Why were you betting on the Commanders?
Yeah, you cost yourself $250. Don't blame the Commanders. He said Rivera is a joke with that Wentz plug-in. Winston, your Cowgirls will be one and done, either the Brady or the 49ers. Sorry, man. Lions will beat the Packers by 10 next week. Oof. All right, I am Two Fly. Do you want to address any of these comments here, Winston, before we go to break?
These are bold predictions. I ain't worried about. We play the Niners. I'm fucking terrified. We play Brady. I ain't worried. And second of all, we're probably going to win the NFC East. So shut your ass. I ain't playing shit.
Wow, that's a strong statement there, ladies and gentlemen. What can you say? What can you say?
Bro,
all right,
bro.
Right.
No, I'm just saying. Watch. Don't believe me. Just watch.
Don't believe it, just watch. Yeah. Anyway. All right, let's take a quick break here. I don't have the slate to put up because I think I probably deleted it when I was cleaning a lot of stuff out here on the phone. So we're just going to stop for a second. All right, we're back here. Jumping into of the games here. Let's start off with the 49ers here. Man, what a game they played here, edging out the Raiders 37-34 in overtime for their 9th consecutive win. This was helped by Deshaun Gibson in overtime, intercepting Jarrett Stidham, who had been, the possible heir apparent to Brady over there in New England. He intercepted him in overtime, returned it 56 yards, and then Robbie Gould, who had missed a field goal near the end of the game to win it, came in and kicked the 23-yarder to win the game for the Niners. They can clinch the number 2 seed in the NFC with a win against Arizona next week or a loss by Minnesota, the Bears next week. San Francisco also still has an outside shot at the number 1 seed and a bye if Philadelphia loses to the Giants in week 18, and they handle their business next week as well. McCaffrey rushed for 121 yards, caught 6 passes for 72 yards. He surpassed 1,000 yards rushing for the 3rd time as a player and scored touchdowns in 5 consecutive games. Devontae did all he could, 7 receptions for 153 yards, and Stidham threw for 365 yards. So, what do you take out of this game? The Niners took care of business. Even when they were challenged, maybe by a team they were overlooking, they still got it done. So how scared should everybody be of the Niners?
I mean, dude, the fact that Brock Purdy, that is the biggest thing. You got to look at the fact that Brock Purdy is playing like we expected Christian McCaffrey to be the guy, and he is. Right. You've got the receivers there, even without Debo. Like Ayuk stepped up. I hate that I didn't play him. I didn't play him because he hasn't been consistent, really. Right. So I left him on the bench, and that's a lot of points there. I'm slated to win. I got like a 73% chance, I believe, last time I checked. I've got Burrow playing, and this dude's got Singletary and the Buffalo kicker. Okay. So, and I'm up 9 points right now. So as long as in the finals. Okay. So as long as Burrow doesn't shit the bed, and as long as Singletary doesn't have a career day, I should take it. We'll see. We're knock on wood here. Okay. All that being said, I'm watching what this Niners team has done. How their focus, as it has been for years, is defense first. This is a strong defense that doesn't let you really score. The fact that the Raiders found 34 points on this team is insane.
It is kind of insane, especially with a backup quarterback. Yeah.
I chalk that up to the fuck this being a Vegas team. It's not. This is the Bay Area rivalry that could, and it will forever remain that way. I am not surprised that the Raiders put their foot into it and really went for it, man. But this Niners team, they have figured out how to win under adversity. They have figured out how to win when they far outclass their opponent. They are the scariest team in football, and that's amongst every team I said the NFC. I'll take it back. They are scarier than the Chiefs, in my opinion, even with Mahomes and everything. They're scarier than the Bills. They are scarier than every other team in football because they have been relentless. And they're doing it with people that they have no business doing it. Like Brock Purdy is literally drafted Mr. Irrelevant.
Come on.
And look what he's doing.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, they're scary.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to say, I'm going to put it out there that the Niners can go ahead and shit the bed in this last game against Arizona. Come on, Arizona. You need to go out on some sort of high note. So then the Eagles are going to fuck up. We're going to end up with the fucking number 1 seed because we have the tiebreaker over the Vikings, bro. And then it's glorious. Yeah. I cannot wait. Rocha, call your people. Just tell them not to play. They don't even want to play. Sure. Don't even show up. Don't show up. Or just put Wentz in. Put Wentz's bitch ass in.
He's totally starting the last game. Of course he is. Come on. It'd be an insult to put in Tyler. If I was Tyler, I wouldn't go in. I would not play the game against the Cowboys. F that. There's nothing to play for. Zero to play for. But yeah, Brock Purdy, another good game, 240 yards, 2 touchdowns. He did have an interception, passer rating of 95.4. If he had ended this game with 100 passer rating, he'd have been the first quarterback ever to start his first 4 games with over 100 passer rating. Mr. Irrelevant. And I'm talking ever. Tom Brady, Brett Favre, AARON Rodgers, all the great ones that have ever come through, Joe Montana, Steve Young, none of them have ever done that. And he would have been the first one ever to do that. But yeah, I agree with you. I think this team is scary because they're getting it done on both sides of the ball. And where you think they'd be the weakest, the quarterback with Mr. Irrelevant there, he has been better than Trey Lance, better than, in my opinion, Jimmy G this year, and how he commands the offense and how the players respond to him. Someone texted me the other day, like, well, Trey Lance hasn't really gotten a shot. Bullshit. Trey Lance has had numerous opportunities. Here's Brock Purdy getting it done way better than Trey Lance did. So this kid, sometimes people get put in positions, they are ready for the situation. Brock looks to be ready. He looks confident. He looks way more mature beyond his years in handling this offense. And they may have stumbled upon the next quarterback of the 49ers. I get like this Jeff Garcia vibe from him, right? Jeff Garcia, not Montana, not Steve Young, but was able to keep the 49ers in contention for playoff berths, for possible NFC championship berths in there through his play. So maybe Purdy is that guy, or God forbid, Purdy may be the Tom Brady, the next Tom Brady, that person that everyone overlooked, drafted way late, who comes in and somehow understands the game at this level better than other people who were drafted higher than him. We shall see.
The other thing I'll say about this game that's pretty interesting is that shout out to Devontae Adams for showing how much of a boss he is.
Yeah, no shit.
Your best friend gets benched. You're pissed off. You're mad at this team, and you're wondering why you even came here. And yet you still go off for 153 and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Whew.
Yeah.
What a hoss, bro. That is insane.
And you wonder, what did they get a good sample of what Jarrett Stidham can do here against a defense like the 49ers? Can he play this well next week? Because, I mean, look, Minshew put up 34 points on those Cowboys last week. He put up 10 against the Saints this week. So what do you have in this Jarrett Stidham guy? We got to find out.
What you found out is that he has the potential to do that, but you got to see it consistently. Because, Rocha, there have been schmodown games where I was beating the brakes off of people. Lucky breaks happen. I got a category that I'm good at. Dodgeball situations. Oh, they definitely. How about Team Trek, bitch? Everybody thought me and Eric were going to be done. And then they gave me, They gave me rom-coms. I was out here bending and snapping on suckers. Like, come on now. So, like, nah. But same thing with dodgeball. There have been moments where, like, I'm not the most athletic person in the world. I can hold my own, but it is what it is. There was a game where I beat 7 people by myself. That happened one time in my life. I have been in those situations multiple times, and most of them end with me getting one person and then I'm toast. So no, I need to see Jarrett Stidham do this on a consistent basis where he can hold his own against these teams. We know the potential is there, but ain't no proof that he's that dude yet.
No,
because Derek Carr's had these games. Derek Carr's had these games. 100%. Derek Carr's no longer the starter.
That's right. It's a good point. Might be starting in Washington next year. We shall see. All right, let's move on to the Seattle Seahawks here. Winston's second favorite team in the league this year because of Geno Smith. They kept their playoff hopes alive because of Geno Smith, who threw 2 first-half touchdowns. Kenneth Walker III showed up and rushed for 133 yards, and they destroyed these Jets 23-6. Brian White was coming back here after that terrible Zach Wilson outing last week. He was coming back. A lot of people thought he might save the Jets in this game, but the Seahawks showed up and took care of business, snapping their 3-game losing streak. Geno it wasn't a big score line or stat line, 18 of 29 for 183 yards, but he took care of business when he needed to. And now the Jets are out of the playoffs, officially eliminated after with their 5th straight loss, and they've extended the longest active playoff drought in the NFL to 12 seasons. Sorry, Ed. But I was cheering for these Jets. They just couldn't get the job done, and Robert Saleh is going to have to do some work here in the offseason because there's certainly a great foundation here.
Yeah, Rocha. It's just amazing because despite everything going on, dude, it's the same shit, different day.
Yeah.
It's the same shit, different day, and I am laughing so hard at the fact that you have a situation here where the Jets, the minute they lost all the players, you ended up with a quarterback carousel. You lost your stud rookie running back. You lost some of your other stud rookie, like O lineman and I believe D lineman. Haswell can probably, bro. This was not the sauce. This was not the sauce at all. And I am dying laughing at this.
Yeah.
And you want to know what a good coach looks like, bro? I woke up. We went to bed at 5 out of New Year's.
Oh my God.
Because people wouldn't leave my house. People didn't leave. They just stayed and stayed. So we didn't get to bed till about 5. Yeah. So because knowing the championship was there, even though I was exhausted, woke up at like 7:30, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and I just kept staring at my phone, and I was like, I got this Jets defense. A little suspect, but mainly because I know that offense is mad suspect. They be getting tired.
Right.
Do I play them against Seattle, who is about middle of the pack, or do I abandon ship in the championship? I've had them now for about 5 weeks to help get me here. Do I abandon them and go try and stream a defense? And I see the Chargers are playing the third from the bottom offensive team in the league. I know they just put up 51, so that's riding in the back of my brain that they just put up 51 points on somebody. But fuck the Jets, I'm out. And lo and behold, I now currently have a 9-point lead going into my final player, my quarterback, in the Monday Night Football, where I would be down had I played the Jets defense. So, look, man, I acknowledge that there is a lot of talent there.
Yeah.
Haskell, I think the future is bright, but y'all ain't there yet. And it was a little premature once you started getting these injuries. And that's really what it was, these injuries. And I said this about Mike White, bro.
Yeah.
1 game, 2 games, you're ready to crown this motherfucker? How about you see him for a season? How about if he does it this year, if he makes a deep run into the playoffs off that rookie sensation kind of shit, fine.
Yeah.
But it was a couple games, people like, Mike White, the truth, we heal. No, you're not. Do you understand that when Dak came in for Romo, he had that first electric game, and I was like, oh, hell yeah, we have a great backup. He started doing a couple of these. I'm like, whoa, this kid might be it. And then finally, when Romo was about ready to play, Dak had this come from behind victory, and Romo said, I retire. I'm out. Yeah. And I was like, Dak's the truth. And for the most part, he has been. If we actually look at what he's done, Dak deserves some credit. He needs to win some playoff games. He needs to actually make us look like a real contender. But Mike White ain't proven shit yet. I need to see what Mike White can do first. For real. Not just off of a small sample size.
I think you can make that claim for the entire Jets team. They haven't proven shit yet because they still haven't made the playoffs. And as great as they were this year and some games, and certainly beating the Buffalo Bills is something they can hang their hat on, in the end, it's a 17-game season. You got to show up consistently enough to get into these playoffs and make some noise in the playoffs before people consider you any kind of anything. Certainly the Jets have had many seasons where they've come 1 game or 2 games away from getting in the playoffs and then absolutely recede for years. So it's a matter of, can you do it consistently, which is what Winston was alluding to. And I think he's 100% right. We shall see next year. And look, I like what Saleh did this year. So let's go into next year and let's see what you can create. Let's see what you can build on. If Mike White is your guy, what do you need to get around him to make him even better and to make your offense and defense respond even better? Keep all the receipts you want, but if you can't get in the playoffs, just rip them all up in the shredder because they don't mean shit. So we shall see in the end what happens to these Jets for sure. But shout out to the Seahawks keeping themselves in contention. Wouldn't it be something if they're the ones who sneak in and get themselves in the playoffs? They're going to need some help, but we shall see what happens with these Seahawks for sure. Just a quick reminder, we got 70 of you all watching us right now. Thanks so much for joining us here on Game Time and on the Game Time Sports channel. Please remember to hit a like on this video and subscribe to the channel down below if you haven't done that. And if you want to send in some support, which we would appreciate, send it in through the Streamlabs address there. It's right up on the screen, and you can send them in. I'll read them as we go along through the show there, and it's pinned in the chat as well if you need that link as well. All right, let's move on to our next thing here, and that our last game, I think, of the opening section here of the show here, and that is the New England Patriots taking care of business here and keeping themselves in playoff contention by beating the hapless at this point Miami Dolphins 23-21. The Patriots snapped a 4-game losing streak where everybody in New England was questioning whether Mac Jones was the guy, and people started questioning whether Bill Belichick was actually a damn good coach or whether it was all Tom Brady. Well, they took care of business here, and they can earn a playoff berth by beating the Buffalo Bills next week, which I think is in Buffalo. And Mac Jones finished 20 of 33 for 203 yards through touchdown passes to Jacoby Myers and Tyquan Thornton. And Kyle Duggar intercepted Teddy Bridgewater, returning 39 yards for a pick 6. coming out of this game, because Tua didn't play with that concussion protocol, Teddy Bridgewater, it looks like he's broken a finger on his throwing hand, so he is out for next week. And so you look at this game, and the Dolphins have to put, they've lost 5 in a row now, and they'll need to beat these Jets next week, and Buffalo has to beat New England for them to back into, in essence, the playoffs here after a terrible run of form. This is crazy. They were 8-4 or something like this, and they were pretty much odds-on favorites to get in the playoffs. Now they might not even make the playoffs, which I will refer you to, Winston, to 2 weeks ago, where I said the Dolphins might not even make these playoffs after all the talk we've seen. So there's a lot to go. There's a lot to dissect here with this team. What do you think?
I think I remember saying that the Dolphins will be fine and they'll make the playoffs, but that was under the pretense that Tua was at the helm. I love Teddy Bridgewater. I really like him as a person. It just sucks so hard that the minute that knee went out in Minnesota, that was a wrap. And he has not been the same since. He's had flashes of brilliance, but he just hasn't been the same person. I don't watch enough of his games now to know if it's that he's hearing ghosts coming after him. You know what I mean? And
there was that terrible Carolina stint, and the stints here. He had that 5-0 run for the Saints, sitting in for Drew Brees during that one season, but that was a whole system situation. That was a damn good team.
Right.
He's not a guy that's going to elevate you to the next level as a team.
It's Tua, but I'll be honest with you. I just with Tua, man, I think because we weren't here. That's a little fucked up because it is very clear. It is very clear because this all happened after that hit. That was
those 3 interceptions.
Those 3 interceptions came immediately, like within I want to say a drive or two,
right,
of that clear concussion hit where he got hit his head on the ground again.
Yeah.
And then he looked like he had no idea where he was. So I don't know if I can't really laugh at that one because I know you didn't mean any malice about that, Mike.
No, of course not. I was just doing Snow Angels.
That's what that feels like a little bit. It feels Snow Angel-y on a dude that clearly doesn't know where he is. But at a certain point, there has to be a look in the mirror for Tua.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop giving a shit about Tua's health for this reason. If Tua don't give a fuck, then I don't give a fuck. It's your life. And at this point, it is horrible to see, but it is very clear that this man, at the very least this year, but in general, this man is very injury prone, especially in the brain. Because that wasn't his issue beforehand and people were concerned. If I remember, it was a knee thing out of college, right?
Right. It was a knee thing. Yeah.
The man is just super injury prone at this time. And yes, he is very, very talented, but I'm not that man's life is not going to be the same after 3 concussions in 3 months. No, sir. That is life-changing shit. So, but if you don't care, I don't care. That's it. And it'll be one of those things where if at this point, if he continues to play and all that shit, look up and be like, damn, that's really sad. That's really sad. But I don't know what else to say.
I think he's going to try to play until he can't. I 100% don't. What he should logically do is retire from football. He's got a great name.
It was hip in college. Okay.
Hip. Yeah. Well, he's got to retire from football, make that money, become a speaker, maybe even become someone who represents concussion situations and whatever. There's money in that. You can absolutely do that. Become an analyst. If fucking Dan Orlovsky can be a goddamn analyst, any quarterback in the NFL worth his
salt. You leave Dan Orlovsky alone. He is a great goddamn analyst. You watch your mouth. He is a great analyst. You watch your mouth. Great player. I don't know about that. I mean, there was
great.
They roasted the hell out of him. Hold on. They roasted the hell out of him.
It was
on
beautiful.
First Take. Please tell me you saw it, right?
Was beautiful. It's
whatever he was. It's whatever.
Dan's gonna talk his shit about quarterbacks and about other. And I'm like, I hate when I see journeyman or backup quarterbacks try to tell you what the great ones are thinking in these moments. Get the fuck out of here. You have no idea what these people. Mark Cuban once undressed Skip Bayless and called him out and just was like, "You guys say all your shit as sports writers. None of you motherfuckers ever been on the field." And know exactly, they didn't come out motivated. You have no idea how motivated players are to play in games. You've never been in these situations, but you create these scenarios and you put this shit on the players. And there's more going on that you guys will never understand. And he's right. But looking at Orlovsky has no idea what the great players are actually thinking in those moments or with these quarterbacks. So when they call him out, when he's trying to call out another quarterback, I think it's all fair game. And I thought Stephen A. and the other guy absolutely had the right to roast him like
I think
crazy.
it was Marcus Spears, but that was hilarious.
Yeah, Spears,
they were like, it's funny you mentioned that, Dan, because I have a video here that I would like to show. I don't know why you talking all that mess when someone doesn't know where the back of the end zone is.
It helps if you stay in bounds, Dan.
Stay off the weed. Like just oh my God.
So no offense. Just like what's his face? The brother Hasselbeck. I never trusted a word out of that guy's mouth. You weren't even the best Hasselbeck in your family in the NFL. I'm never listening to you, for God's sake. So, yeah. Jesus. Give me the great ones. They're the ones who understand. That's why Romo didn't win a Super Bowl, but Romo is a phenomenal analyst because Romo played for damn good teams, couldn't quite get the job done, but he's been in those pressure situations. He understands. He analyzes really, really well. So you don't see people calling him out. Stephen A. wouldn't dare pull that shit on Romo, but he did it on Dan because Dan ain't shit. No offense. Dan ain't shit, you know? Yeah. I mean, I'm not listening to Jacoby Brissett tell me what the fuck is going on with great quarterbacks, for God's sakes. It's the same kind of thing. Anyway, all right. Was that everything on that game? Is there anything more you want to go over in that game?
Not really. I mean, I guess I can. I was like, I can't believe that it's everything old is new again, that the Dolphins are about to not be in the fucking playoffs yet again. But shit, dude, I just feel like there was too much bad juju on every. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Elizabeth Hasselbeck set up shop. Oh no.
Yeah, right, exactly. Don't even start on her as well. But yeah, I mean, these kinds of things. But I mean, what do you think about, real quick, before we move from this game, because I know we got to take another break. Do you think the questions about Bill Belichick's abilities as a coach are fair right now, considering how these Patriots have been since Tom Brady left? He certainly kept them competitive, but just like his Browns teams, they're 500 ball. Does he deserve, or is there a reanalysis of him that might happen here if he does not find a good quarterback? It's like Phil Jackson, right? People started to wonder about Phil Jackson after he couldn't coach the Knicks to shit, after he couldn't do shit after he left. Like when he got the Lakers there and the Bulls, they're great. But when he went to other teams, he was not a good coach. He couldn't get them anywhere near where they're supposed to be in the conversation. So do you start to question things and about his abilities?
Yes and no. It still takes a certain level of a coach to be able to manage talent like that, to get them to the promised land, to put them in the right positions 100%. To win. Yeah. I think what it just really speaks to, yes, coaches are very, very important. Let's not pretend like they're not, but it comes down to that talent, that unmitigated talent. It's that Phil Jackson looked as good as he did because he coached Michael Jordan and then Kobe.
Right.
Bill Belichick looked as good as he did because he coached Tom Brady. It's one of those situations where you had the right person to put you in that position to look incredible.
Yeah.
I have yet to see either of them do that without a superstar of that level. You were literally talking about three of the greatest to ever do it in their sports. And those coaches succeeded like none other.
Yeah.
But I believe, truthfully, if you would put Michael Jordan with, like, say, Pat Riley, I think Jordan would have still won a comparable amount of rings. Or with 100%. Oh my God, Popovich. You put it with Popovich. He might have won the same, if not more.
If not more.
And that's not taking anything away from Phil Jackson, but just how ridiculous Popovich is. The same thing could be said if you would put Brady with Sean Payton. I think that Brady would have probably won the same amount of rings. I know that Peyton's only won the one ring, but it's very clear with what he did with the Saints and with Drew Brees. Like, you know what I'm saying? It would have been, you would have been fine. So
Tom Brady in Green Bay maybe wins at least 4 or 5 rings, maybe 4. Maybe 4. With McCarthy and with
hell no.
Holmgren.
I'm not giving that to McCarthy.
With Holmgren? Come on. He took Bruce Arians, a 500 level coach, to a Super Bowl championship. If he runs the gamut, runs the table rather than hit and wins, to take Todd Bowles to a championship. Look, if he takes Todd Bowles, Bruce Arians, and Bill Belichick to a Super Bowl, come on now, come on. Because
let's be honest. It does take a coach, to get them to that spot consistently. A player that good, I think, especially with the experience, you need the experience too. I think you take a young Brady and you put him in the situation in the Bucs, he's not winning. It's that Brady had already figured out what it takes to 100%
do it
and went down there.
Yeah.
So all that being said, there is still a particular coach that is able to help. It is a tandem.
Yeah.
And as Belichick has proven, they're not super. Have you noticed both the Patriots and the Bucs have not been superstar teams? Yes, Brady won a championship. That one first season was like, okay.
Yeah.
But since then, the Bucs have been kind of like, okay, a little sus.
Yeah, last two
have been okay, a little sus. Yeah. And then the Patriots have just been nothing. And then same thing. So they went to the full tail end of being trash, but now have been kind of mid-range. They both have leveled back out to an 8-8 team, or 8-9 or 9-8, however they end up. You know what I'm saying? It's with their powers combined that made them all of a sudden they were unstoppable.
That's why I marked this down. I said this 2 weeks ago on our last show. I truly believe Tom Brady will go back to play for New England to finish out his career. I'm telling you right now, someone is brokering a Middle East level peace summit at Camp David somewhere for Tom Brady and Bill Belichick to solve their shit and come back together and have one last hurrah there for Tom Brady in a New England uniform.
How about we don't?
I guarantee you the entire thing is the entire section.
No. If that happens, then I'm going to have a real problem, because I was just getting to a place where I could live with Brady feasibly. I could be okay with him. And, the Patriots are whatever. It was the lethal combination of Boston sports fans and Tom Brady.
Oh, yeah.
That made me want to just start flipping tables and hitting people with baseball bats. There is nothing more insufferable than a Boston sports fan going, hey, Tom's going to go and have a wicked game. It's going to be wicked awesome. I don't get that shit the fuck away from me. Away.
I think what Winston is saying is that Roxy was never more obnoxious than when Tom Brady
Roxy was never that. She was never that. And the only time
I know, I'm only joking. Roxy's always great.
No. I know she's one of the few Boston sports fans I can tolerate. There was
her and JTE I can tolerate. Yeah.
I've never talked to JTE about Brady, so I couldn't. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have to. I guess maybe a little bit on this show, but it didn't go there. You know what I'm saying? It was sort of there, but it didn't go there. Because the only time Roxy and I ever had a disagreement about Brady and it got a little heated, I was having a conversation with her where I said Brady is the GOAT, but I feel that Aaron Rodgers just happens to be more talented. And she got upset. She's like, you don't call 6 rings. And I was like, hold on. I'm talking about the things that specifically Rodgers does, how hard he can throw the ball, how accurate he can throw the ball, the way he can throw the ball on the go, all that kind of stuff. Slightly bit more talented, but Brady has a better ability to win, and there's a reason he is the GOAT. In the same way that Allen Iverson, pound for pound, is considered one of the most skilled players to ever play basketball, but people would put Kobe and Michael and LeBron all ahead of him because there's just it's something a little different, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, totally.
So it wasn't really getting through when Roxy got really mad at me. And she was like, talk about Tom. Tom is the hardest worker. Tom wins all the games. You all of a sudden her Boston came out.
Yeah, she don't play on that. She doesn't play on that. So yeah, that's no surprise at all, for God's sakes. All right, let's take a quick break here and we'll jump into the rest of the NFL and get into some college football and that mascot from the Commanders right after this. All right, let's get into it. I'll run it real quick. The next few games here. The Lions routed the Bears 41-10, as we set up this matchup with Green Bay next week. Jared Goff threw 3 touchdown passes to lead them to this victory over the hapless Bears, 41-10. Dak Prescott had 2 touchdown passes on Thursday night to beat up the banged up Titans 27-13. The Titans are done, for God's sakes. The Saints beat the Eagles, as we've been talking already throughout the show here, 20-10. The sluggish Chiefs beat the Broncos 27-24. Russell Wilson did all he could, but in the end, it wasn't. Patrick Mahomes took care of business. The Jags routed the Texans, as they were expected to do, and won 31-3. Here's the thing you got to put in your minds. They had lost the Texans 9 times before this game, 9 times in a row. They finally took care of business against these Texans. And if there's a team I don't want to play in the playoffs, it's the Jacksonville Jaguars. Oh, my God. Kenny Pickett kept the Steelers alive with a 16-13 win over the Ravens due to a last-minute touchdown to Najee Harris in Baltimore with 56 seconds left on the clock. Austin Eckler led the Chargers here over the Rams. He had 2 touchdowns, reached 100 yards, and they killed the Rams 31-10. I turned down tickets to that game because I knew what was going to happen. And Carson Wentz, three interceptions to lead the Commanders to a 24-10 loss to the Cleveland Browns. So from one sexual harasser to another, and that means Dan Snyder to Deshaun Watson, he helped Deshaun Watson get a victory there. And Koo, that's right, Young-Hoo Koo got himself a game-winning field goal here, a 21-yard game-winning field goal in the final play of the game, lifting the Falcons over the Arizona Cardinals 20-19, giving Desmond Ridder, rookie quarterback starting for the Falcons, a victory in the NFL, and moving us one step closer to J.J. Watt retiring from the NFL, as he's got one more game left next week. So which game do you want to talk about, or what do you want to talk about from these games here, Winston?
Let's see. Only thing I want to do is I want to take a moment to defend Dak Prescott, and then the rest of the games. The Saints Philly game is a lot of fun to talk about. It definitely is. Also, Russell Wilson last week. I don't know if you heard last week. He finally tied the number of touchdowns with the number of toilets in his new house in Denver. Man, finally did it.
Some of these,
as a matter of fact, because he had 12, right? He had 12 toilets in his new home, and so he finally and now he finally passed it. He passed it by one. He has one more touchdown than he has toilets in his house. That's amazing. Throwing touchdown. He did run for 2 this week, so if you include those 2. But I think the biggest thing that is going to be dangerous about Dak is that, does Dak occasionally throw some bad balls? Yeah. And there's a few that aren't interceptions that should have been interceptions that need to be addressed as well. But a lot of these turnovers are from players deciding, I don't actually want to catch the ball today, but thanks for playing. We're literally first interception. Oh, here, Rocha. And then you get to run it back. Okay? Like, we're literally talking about our players deciding they're not going to catch the ball. They go, and forget what their job description is and hand it over. So, on the one hand, we are winning games with these amount of turnovers, which is kind of crazy. We shouldn't be, by all accounts. But Jesus Christ, bro, I am getting real nervous. Cheese and rice, excuse me. So I just, oh God, man.
I know. You should be getting really nervous. It's looking hairy, that's for sure. Someone, Sean Brennan saying, sluggish Chiefs, 5,000 yards, 40 touchdowns, 13 wins, barely makes best of the rest. Rocha keeping the blood feud alive. Did Mahomes steal from you, Rocha? No, I'm saying sluggish because the Chiefs were down to the fucking Broncos in the third quarter. You are down to the Broncos, led by what's left of Russell Wilson's body. And are you going to tell me what do you do? And I'm not going to put that in the first half of the show because you're supposed to kill the Broncos. So the fact that you even let it go that far, they got even that close, I think speaks volumes to the fact that you guys are already mentally in the playoffs and not really focused on actually winning the games in front of you. And you're having to squeak by against a team like the Broncos who are just done with the season, for God's sake. So that's why I said what I said. But no, Mahomes has been playing great. And earlier in the show, we mentioned that he is certainly one to be at the top of the list for MVP consideration, if not the actual MVP, depending on what happens with Jalen Hurts next week for Philadelphia. And we'll see what happens with Jalen because they're not even sure he's going to go. So that could be a real interesting situation because, I mean, the Eagles need that extra week to rest Jalen even more. And I don't know, do you take a chance with Gardner Minshew? I don't know. There's a lot of questions coming out of this game against the Saints because they lost that in Philly. In Philly, they lost to Andy Dalton, former Cowboy, against the Saints. And I'm just really shocked at how this all went down. And I got to ask questions about that Philly defense, about the offensive game plan, about the mentality coming into this game, because maybe they themselves thought that they were already going to win this game and it wasn't that big of a deal. And they got caught, so just kind of shocking to see the Eagles lose this game.
I mean, it is definitely a situation where the Eagles are, again, they're at the top of the heap there, but they're in that the top of the teams in the league. But dude, it is incredible to see. If you need to understand the impact a player has, and the only thing that can really keep them out is injury. No one's going to voluntarily be like, don't play me for 2 games just so we see how good we really are.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If there was ever proof that it was one part the rest of the Eagles, one part Jalen Hurts, it's here we are, because Gardner Minshew, I remember the whole mustache thing, blah, blah, blah. They were like, okay. The Eagles are not doing well. You should not have lost to the Saints like this, not when the Saints have been so suspect this year.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Ooh, Lord, dude, that was not the move at all. So you should have annihilated them. But as far as the Chiefs being sluggish, they were only 47 yards on the ground, I believe.
That's
46. 46 on the ground. So good for Patrick Mahomes doing what Patrick Mahomes does. That he deserves all the credit in the world for that. But the Chiefs' run game did not really get started. Their defense didn't go all out and really stop because the Denver offense has been non-existent, and you let them score 24 points on you, and it took, like you said, last minute heroics. So I don't know if you called it like they weren't asleep at the wheel, but they weren't quite there. They were that ride on the freeway where you a couple times you do one of these. Oh shit.
It's that date you go on when you've been on so many dates already. You didn't really put a full effort into it. You still got the job done, but it didn't feel like you were really bringing out your best stuff. And that's what you were watching here with these Chiefs. Yeah. So, we'll see. We'll see what happens with them in the playoffs, because I didn't like the interception Mahomes threw either. It was an ugly interception, but he seems to be able to shake it off and bring this team back. And look, nobody had got above 71 yards receiving for the Chiefs. Nobody. And as you said, nobody got above 30 yards rushing for the Chiefs as well. So those are bad numbers when you're looking at a situation. And I know it's a divisional foe and all that shit, but still,
you get a pass from me. You get a pass from me on nobody getting above 70 yards because Mahomes found 328, and that just means he spread it around. If anything, I'm more impressed that he had that kind of a performance as far as spreading it around, because it always was just get it to Tyreek Hill, then throw it to Kelsey, get it to Tyreek Hill. He needed to figure out how to do it without, arguably the best receiver in the game. And he has, he made something happen. It's just, you don't want the score to reflect what it reflects most of that game. And it takes a last minute heroic, even from a division rival. You're right, because the Broncos have been dog shit. You should have had this well in hand. But again, Mahomes, in my opinion, is top of the MVP. I mean, his statistics, number 1 in yards, 5,048. Number 1 in touchdowns at 40, which is wild, because obviously we all remember he's not going to get 10 next week. We all know when Brady broke it at 50. So, wild is fucking crazy, or 40 is crazy. First with QBR at 77.8, and then he's tied for 25th with interceptions at 12, which you want to be in, the top 10 or the bottom 10 of interceptions anyway, and he's almost there. So, or he is there. Excuse me. So, no, Patrick Mahomes, in my opinion, is the MVP.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, let's get your thoughts on two things here. I don't know if you saw this situation here. Do I have it up? Yeah, but Ed tweeted me something. I should put this up for you so you can enjoy this real quick. Here it is. This is from ESPN. The Cowboys all of a sudden.
I saw that.
There's Undertaker right behind AJ.
Here's the thing that I think happens. If we end up, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
If we do end up getting that game, if we end up winning and and we get the NFC East title, let alone if we somehow get the bye, I mean that would be a lot. But if we sneak the title out from the Eagles, I actually have a feeling that the Eagles don't make it out of the first round. I think psyche wise that fucks you up too hard. I think if they close it out this week, if they win this last game, they secure the division. I think they'll be fine. I think they'll go deep as they were slated to, but I think if they lose, I think this skid will fuck them up, bro. Honestly.
Okay. I don't disagree. Haskell giving us some information as well. And the NFL has flexed Green Bay versus Detroit to Sunday Night Football. That's awesome. KC versus Las Vegas to Saturday, and Tennessee versus Jacksonville to Saturday. So I'll definitely be watching those games, but Green Bay versus Detroit. Let's get some predictions on the table real quick, and we'll get to that fucking mascot in a second. Green Bay versus Detroit. Thoughts?
Green Bay, Detroit. I think Detroit takes it, man. I think Detroit secures their spot in the playoffs, and I think the Packers had a miracle run that just didn't get to the finish line.
Here's what I'll say. I think Detroit wins this game if they jump on the Packers early. If it's back and forth, I think the Packers are going to win the game. But if they jump on the Packers early, go up like 21, something like that, I think they're absolutely going to win that game because that defense can smother an offense, any offense in the NFL, no matter where they're playing. And Dan Campbell has a way to make you feel like you can walk through walls or burst through walls, and we'll see if that's enough to get them over the hump. And we'll see because, I mean, you never know with Aaron Rodgers for sure. Kansas City versus Las Vegas, no big deal. Tennessee versus Jacksonville. Tennessee could play spoiler here for Jacksonville, but Jacksonville, I think, is in. What do you think?
They're fighting for their division.
Yeah.
The winner of this wins the division. So it's going to be a slobber knocker, but here's the thing. The Titans are healthy. I think after everything they've been through, they can beat Jacksonville because Jacksonville is not invincible. Like they have won some pretty key games and they have some firepower. Trevor Lawrence brought it this year. They're not invincible. And I think the Titans, to make a statement, if Derrick Henry's healthy and back in there and all that kind of stuff, I think they can do it.
Yeah.
But that is provided that everybody's healthy. Didn't they play with like 7 starters out against us?
Well, yeah, because they're on IR. I think they've put Tannehill on IR, so I don't think he's coming back for the
game. Then I think that this is a non-starter and Jacksonville will handle it. I thought maybe it was like we need a week. Everybody is fucked up and
sit down.
just we need a week. Like,
do you think the Steelers sneak in? Do you think the Steelers sneak in? The Steelers have a real shot if they win.
What are the stipulations again?
Let me bring it up real quick because I think Buffalo has to beat the Jets and the Patriots rather, and the Jets have to beat the Dolphins. That's how the Steelers get in, which I think is very doable. I think is very possible. So those are the things that I'm looking at.
Picture.
Yeah, you looking at them right now?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because they're sitting on the outside here.
Right.
Looking in, and because I saw last night when the Steelers were about to win against the Ravens, and it was a lot of nonsense that had to happen. Like a lot of fucking nonsense.
Right.
Okay, so no, the NFL one doesn't really necessarily have it.
All right, so here's the thing for it, right now. The first 6, there's only one still in the hunt for the 7th seed. Right here is Seattle, Detroit, and Green Bay. Right. This is the thing. If Philly wins the NFC East division title with a win, or Dallas loses next week, they clinch the number 1 seed. They have to win, and Dallas has to lose, and San Francisco has to lose. So those are the situations there. Oh, sorry. Philly wins, they get the number 1 seed, or Dallas loses and San Francisco loses. They retain the number 1 seed no matter what happens in their game. San Francisco will get the number 1 seed and home field advantage with their win and Philadelphia losing. The Cowboys clinch the NFC East division title with a win and Philly loss. They can clinch number 1 with a win, a Philly loss, and San Francisco losing next week as well. The Seahawks clinch if they win and Dallas wins if they win and Green Bay loses, they clinch the playoff spot there. If Detroit wins and Seattle loses, Detroit is in. If Green Bay is in just by winning, that's all they have to do is win. So that's kind of crazy in that situation.
Jesus Christ, that's a headache.
It is for the AFC. Let's just go to the clinching thing. The Jaguars clinch with a win or a tie versus Titans, obviously. The Titans clinch with a win at the Jaguars, which is crazy because to be 8-9, they take the division that way. The Bengals clinch the title with a win and tie versus the Bills or a win versus the Ravens. So we'll see tonight what happens. We'll get the predictions on that. The Patriots clinch with a win at the Bills or a Dolphins loss versus the Jets, and Steelers loss versus the Browns, and Jaguars win versus the Titans. That's how they get it. The Dolphins clinch with a win versus the Jets and a Patriots loss to the Bills. The Steelers win, but Steelers get in by beating the Browns, and the Dolphins losing to the Jets, and the Patriots losing to the Bills. The Jaguars can get in with a loss if also the Dolphins lose, the Patriots lose, and the Steelers lose. So it is crazy, all these possible scenarios, and all of them are possible. Like all of them could actually happen. There are no like Colts versus somebody. All these games are legitimately winnable and legitimately losable by all the teams involved. So it's going to be crazy by the time the dust settles at the end of the games on Sunday. So we shall see. But who do you got tonight? Bills, Bengals, thoughts?
I'm not doing it. I have something on the line for this. I'm not taking part in this. I refuse.
You are a part of this show. Hey, you're getting paid to be a part of this show. So
I agree. And I agree. But guess what? If I win infinitely more money than I get paid on this show. I'm not saying shit. I'm not giving you a prediction. I'm not doing it. Okay. I'll keep my mouth shut. I'll tell you this much.
Yeah.
I will tweet 10 seconds before the game is over. I knew it, or man, I was wrong. But I am not saying shit right now. You are not. Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby. Don't you do it.
I hope this is a preview of an AFC Championship game yet again, because of course they met in the AFC Championship game, I think last year. So to me, no, they met KC. Sorry about that. Chiefs. So I think this could be a preview of the AFC Championship game. So to me, I think the Bengals win this one, but the Bills will win it in the playoffs. That's what I think in overall, in my opinion. So I have a feeling. That's my feeling on that. All right, let's get to the big thing everybody wants to talk about. Yesterday,
I don't even know what this is.
During the build-up to the Commanders versus Browns game, it was announced that the Washington Commanders were going to roll out a new mascot, ladies and gentlemen. It was going to be taken from the influence of the Hogs in the 1980s, which for some of you may not know, the Hogs was the nickname for the offensive line of the Washington Redskins back in the 1980s. They were responsible for being a very tough line that led 3 quarterbacks to Super Bowl victories: Joe Theismann, Doug Williams, and the great Mark Rippon. Great for 1 year, Mark Rippon. And led John Riggins to a massive, legendary status as running back for the Redskins. So they took the Hogs' influence and they created this mascot. And the name of this mascot is Major Tuddy. Here is a picture of this ridiculously stupid mascot that the Washington Commanders have put out. Here's another picture of him sitting there after he's eaten God knows what. And enjoying his status there, sitting there as a mascot for the Washington Commanders. And he's apparently 6'3", 250 pounds. They released this whole description of this guy, and he's wearing the old school Army helmet. But
because he's a commander, bro.
He's a major, bro. Winston, your thoughts on this phenomenally stupid mascot for the Commanders? Is this yet another piece of newspaper to throw, or trash rather, to throw into the dumpster fire that is the Washington Commanders?
Bro, no wonder you guys got bounced out of the playoffs yesterday.
I mean, come on.
Why did you reveal that yesterday?
During the before the game. Who's inspired to win for that team, for God's
sake? God, dude. I am not surprised y'all lost so bad yesterday. I didn't realize
horrific
this happened, bro.
Horrific, bro. Horrific. I want to read the description because I know Ed is telling me to read the description. It's a good suggestion. And I want to find it here. But yeah, the great Hogs who were on that offensive line, Joe Jacoby, Mark May, John Riggins, Doc Walker, Fred Dean, they have filed a lawsuit against Dan Snyder in an attempt to, quote, reclaim their rightful ownership, unquote, of the Hogs brand and receive a federal trademark. So even with this, they can't get everybody on board to support it. As if the wire dummy they put up of Sean Taylor to honor Sean Taylor wasn't bad enough. Now they're going to roll out a mascot that is supposedly connected to the legacy of the greatness of the old school Washington Redskins, and they can't even get all the Hogs to be on board with this. Half of them are suing Dan Snyder and the Washington Commanders for ownership of the name and what have you. So just horrific to see this going down. It's yet another example of how terrible the Commanders are under Dan Snyder's ownership and have been for decades. And I hope
a dancing pig in an army hat.
Yeah,
bro. Jesus. I mean, I get you're trying to go through the history part of thing, but how do you keep messing up everything? You mess up the damn statue for one of your greatest players ever. You just put essentially a uniform, various uniforms that he never wore on a mannequin. Because like compare that statue.
You and I were in elementary school. We know putting together wire things to create a figure. That's essentially what they did.
Bro, when you compare the statue that y'all did for what I would say might be the greatest statue of an athlete of all time in Dirk's revealing how they got the perfect off balance, like his leg kick out shot perfectly molded, which that's the real thing that I hate that we didn't do this show. Luka, bro, are you kidding me right now?
Oh, Luka is
insane. The first 60-point triple-double ever in history, and then he turns around and puts up a 50 on the next game. This is like Kobe. You remember Kobe would put he put 60 on your one team, then drop 81 on the next team. Like, that's wild. And for him to be like, so what do you think? He's like, I'm tired. I need a recovery beer. Bro, Luka the shit. Oh, Luka's the shit.
They are. He is. But I like this from Jerry Miller saying, I wouldn't be surprised if that's Snyder in the mascot outfit. I wouldn't either. That's the only way we can get around the stadium without getting pelted. People were chanting for Tyler Heineke during the game, and the Washington Commanders announcer had to come on and tell them to stop doing it during the game. No. Yes. And then people took their Wentz jerseys that they had brought to the game and threw them on the field. That was legitimately happening during the game.
Bro, I am.
This is France. This is revolution. They're going to find Danny in his house and take him out of his house, for God's sakes. It's scary.
I just feel, look, here's the thing. Carson Wentz has been bad, so it happens. I feel kind of bad for Carson Wentz, bro. That sucks. You're trying to put together a drive, and they're not only chanting Heineke, all of a sudden, after you get tackled out of bounds, one of your jerseys flies onto your own face. Like, bro.
It's terrible. That's the truth. And look, Carson twice has led two teams in 2 seasons in a row into winnable games to get in the playoffs, and he's blown it both times. So I don't feel a damn bit sorry for him. I think he had a right to, he's a religious man, so I respect that. But he also, didn't want to get vaccinated, has his own issues with this kind of stuff. And I think he needs to understand you're no longer any good. You're a journeyman. Stop thinking you can lead a team like Marcus Mariota. You're not a fucking high-level NFL quarterback. You're not. You're a backup. And so accept it and move on.
That's what I think the thing that makes that rough, dude, like you said, is the fact that like everybody made him the heir apparent in Philly. He
true.
Put together a couple of like a 1.5 good seasons before that first injury, and people were like, "This is the man. He's the man." And then it just didn't work out.
So the bio is a male hog with exaggerated features that are anatomically similar to the animal, including a large belly, snout, and cloven hooves. Silly, playful character.
Why is that the thing that you're most upset about? Is the cloven hooves?
Cloven hooves implies devil, Satan. I don't know. Why would you say cloven hooves? Everybody says cloven hooves describing Satan.
That's what pigs have, bro. They have cloven hooves. That's literally what their feet are.
Scissor me, daddy. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it.
You were focused on the wrong things, man.
Anyway, just horrific, man. It's tough being a Commanders fan. Really, it just sucks. It sucks.
Dude, you were so close. It would have been literally, we were like, we're going to do it together, guys. We're all going to make the playoffs together. And your ass couldn't get it together. Come on, man.
Bill Simmons and Cousin Sal were talking about this last week, and they were joking how the NFL was going to rig that game for the Redskins to lose to the Browns so they would help Aaron Rodgers get in the playoffs, right? They were talking about it. And I was like, maybe they will. But then when you're watching the game, you're like, oh, they didn't have to do any rigging here. Just let Carson Wentz start the game. That's exactly what happened. And I wonder if Roger Goodell slid Snyder a little bit of cash. It was like, make Ron start Carson. And I promise we won't sue you or get into a situation here when they come for you and get you out of the NFL. Who knows? All right, Winston, did you watch any of the college football games over the weekend, the playoff games? Did you watch any of that stuff on Saturday?
Not to completion, but I saw I saw a good chunk of that TCU game. I didn't know if they were gonna do it or not. And goddamn, did they do it?
Yeah. What a great game. Both of these games. TCU taking care of business here, beating Michigan 51-45. An undefeated Michigan team that was number two in the country. They had one loss. I think they had one loss, but either way, they were undefeated. TCU had one loss. They beat them 51-45. Max Duggan accounted for 4 touchdowns. TCU returned 2 pick sixes. There were a lot of controversy around a targeting situation, a lot of controversy about the first Michigan touchdown that was called back after he had caught it, fell down, and it looked like he had fallen in the end zone with the ball across the line, but they determined in replay that he hadn't crossed the line, and then they ended up fumbling that ball, which TCU recovered and was able to drive down and get points. So there's a lot going on in that game. And then in the second game, which I thought was really fantastic, was Georgia rallying to beat Ohio State 42-41. I thought Ohio State was going to win this game for a majority of this game. They looked really up for it. Georgia looked maybe a quarter of a step behind, not a half a step, a quarter of a step or a tenth of a step behind Ohio State. Couldn't quite get it done. But Ohio State, in the end, missed a field goal that could have won the game here with time ticking off the clock. And Georgia wins this game. Stetson Bennett led Georgia to this victory. Now they go in to possibly win back-to-back national championships next Monday. Yeah. So craziness, but these were the 2 best college football semifinal games we've ever had. And I hope it opens the door to the fact that letting teams in like TCU, who are not normal Power 5 college conference teams, and let them in to have their shot at this playoff. So great stuff overall.
I know you can't do a dance like you do with college basketball, but I really think it would behoove college football. You started with 4 teams because you weren't sure if a playoff thing would work. I think you need to open it up to 8 if you want to cap it at 8, just because of how TV deals and scheduling works. Fine, but can you imagine a legitimate 8-team playoffs and letting these teams really go for the title? That you take out a lot of controversy about these teams that are damn good, not given their shot, and it is a real, just like the NFL, it is real parity kicks in at times where that 8th seed that nobody expected to do shit all of a sudden is posed to win it all. You could be the Giants and do it twice to the Patriots. You never know.
Yeah. Well, it's funny you say that, Winston, because in September of this past year, now that we're in 2023, the college football playoff the NCAA has passed a new format that will kick in 2026. They've gone even higher than you gone, and they are going to a 12-team playoff starting in 2026. And it could begin in 2024 or 2025, but it will be instituted by 2026. 12 teams will be the 6 conference champions ranked highest by the selection committee with no minimum ranking requirement, plus the 6 highest ranked teams not included among the 6 highest ranked conference championships. So you may get an 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 seed that runs the table and wins the title.
But how does that work? Because just knowing brackets, how does a 12-seeded bracket work?
So 6 teams.
Buys?
Yeah, there's no buys. I would imagine that it's 1 versus 12, 2 versus 11. That's how they're going to do it from the beginning. So yeah.
Okay, so hold on. So if you do that,
Yeah.
but how does that math work when teams start getting eliminated? Because you go from 12 to 6.
Yeah, so the highest ranked team would then that survives the first round would automatically be the top ranked team, and then everyone still assumes their ranking. Everyone still assumes their ranking of when they came in. So they keep the ranking. They don't move it around because one other team won or what have you. So that's the thing. You establish your ranking before you walk into the playoffs, and that's the ranking you have no matter whether you win all the games or not. You still be the number 8 seed or the 12 seed. So you'd basically be having to be at the will of the other teams who are higher ranked than you. So yeah, that's basically how it's going to be. We'll see what happens. I think Georgia showed some cracks. If TCU, because remember they lost their starting running back in the game, we'll see what his knee feels like in a week. If he's ready to go, then I think TCU has every shot at winning this game. It would be incredible to see them pull off beating 2 undefeated teams back to back, the 1 and the 2 seeds. It would be incredible to see TCU get that job done for sure. And sad situation for Michigan. We'll see if Harbaugh sticks around or if he jumps into the NFL. A lot of people think he's going to take over the Colts in the offseason here and become the head coach heading into the new NFL season. We shall see for sure. All right. Anything else you want to talk about, Winston? Shall we wrap it up?
My Gunners, baby. We're going to win the damn Premier League. Watch, motherfucker. 4-2. All up in their ass. We were up 3. We were up 3-0. We shouldn't have let them score twice. That was pathetic. But, bro, comfortable 2-point victory. I ain't even scared, bro. We about to annihilate all y'all clowns. We're up, 7 points, I think, on the rest of the league right now?
More than that. Between you and Matt Nostin, you're just becoming fans of Arsenal 2 years ago.
No. What you're not going to do is try and pretend like I haven't multiple times spoken about how I'm a Gunner. I'm not waking up at 5 a.m. I'm not doing it. Not consistently.
That's not fandom. I wake up at 5 a.m. every time.
Because you're an old man and old men wake up at 5 in the morning because you got to take your Metamucil and get to Luby's on time. Fuck you. I'm not.
I got to get moving. You know, these knees don't move like they used to.
5 a.m. is when I go to bed, son of a bitch. I'm not doing it. So all I'm saying is that I've been a fan of them since the 2014 World Cup.
Sure.
Was that the correct year? 2014. The 2014 World Cup is when I really started getting into soccer, and my homie who I trust him in sports. I was like, what team should I follow? He's like, look, if you want the Saints of the Premier League, where sometimes you're like, hell yeah, and then sometimes you're like, so we the Aints again, huh? So we're just gonna fuck this shit up. If you want a roller coaster ride where when they're good, they're great, and when they're not, and they're not Man U, that everybody's sucking Man U's dick.
Everybody loves Man U. It's disgusting.
Then he goes, go with Arsenal. I said, fuck it. I'll give it a shot. And I have been a ride or die gunner the whole time. I just cannot wake up that early. I'm not doing it. So this game was on at a reasonable hour. It was like 9 a.m. I said, hell yeah. And I sat the fuck down and enjoyed this game.
Man. They're not going to play the games at 5 in the afternoon or at midnight so that you can get up and watch it. Anyway, my Liverpool took a big loss today to Brentford 3-1. We didn't come out ready to play. I knew we were going to lose one of these 3 games, so sucks that we lost to Brentford, but that's the game. We're not as good as we used to be, and clearly Klopp doesn't want to fix the midfield. So we're just going to have to ride or die with my boy this season, thinking that the midfield is fine, but we're not ready. We're not going to be ready. And I don't think we're going to take one of those top 4 spots. My girlfriend's going to come in and throw a brick at me right now because she loves that team so much. But that being said, I'm still going to watch. And yes, I do get up at 5 a.m. to watch my team.
Because you have no life, and that's fine.
I have no life. I'm literally working all the time. I have a life, goddamn.
Dude, 1 L on the season. That's what's so beautiful. Just one. Have revealed what now?
Broncos have reached out to Jim Harbaugh, apparently, according to NBC Sports.
I'm sure they would, especially from the standpoint, bro. Do you know how mad Jim Harbaugh must be after that? Always a bridesmaid, never a bride. His brother's got a title over there with the Ravens, bro. He could not get it done with San Francisco, and clearly can't get it done with Michigan. Jesus Christ.
It's so fucking true. All right, let's wrap it up there. Thank you all so much for joining us. We appreciate it. I will do better to include Luca in the show for Winston A. Marshall going forward. He's right. We should have covered that. I was just so focused on the NFL and all the playoff stuff. to handle. So, but I'll be more aware of it going forward. Thank you all so much. And thanks for the Streamlab. I appreciate it. There I am, 2Fly Cam. For those of you who haven't sent stuff in, please start to send stuff in every week, man. The way we can do everything that we're doing is your support, your help. You know, it's Outlaw Nation. Of course, it is Game Time on its own channel, doing its own thing, but Outlaw Nation powers it and sponsors it. So please help us out as we do that with the Streamlabs. Please make sure you hit a like on this video. More than anything else, even if you can. I know money's tight. It's Christmas. You've given out all the gifts. Subscribe to the channel. More than anything else, hit that bell button so you see when we're dropping all the content, and share the show. Let other sports fans that you know come in and hang out with us. We had 70 of you joining us. Want to get to that 100 mark, 150 mark. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers so that we can be monetized. So help us get to that as well. Winston A. Marshall, another fun show, brother man. Please let people know where they can find you and everything going on.
At the Swaggy Blurred on all the socials, man. It's a new year, so I got some new fun stuff coming out all over the place. But yeah, keep your eyes on all of them on TikTok, on YouTube, all the good stuff, man. And then you'll see me over at Capes and Cows with Christian again this coming Friday. And then if you are an SEN Live fan, this will be my last episode for about 2-ish months. I've got a really good career opportunity coming up, so I won't be available on Tuesdays. So I will not be on SEN until at least March, if not a little later, but I will let you guys know. So come hang out tomorrow. Please come watch the show over on the Christian Harloff and Friends channel. I think that's a public show. It might be a Patreon only. And if it is, then I guess any of the patrons come and watch it, but I'm not sure.
So you're saying there's a slot open on Tuesdays. Interesting. All right. Well,
I thought you were offered, and then you were like, "Nah, I'm good. I'm John Rocha."
That's how it works. You can follow me at the Rocha Says on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. The Outlaw Nation on Twitch. Listen, I might do a live show tonight on the channel. I'm not sure. I'm kicking it around in my head. I might do a live show around 6:00 tonight. I don't know, to be honest with you. We'll see how I feel. I got to talk to the lady. We got to figure it out, but maybe. So look for an announcement coming out today if I do that. If not, there's plenty of content dropping over the next week here on the Game Time, but also on the Outlaw Nation channel. I'm committed to try and do 3 or 4 videos a week on this on the Game Time channel and on the Strong Style channel. For those of you who love pro wrestling, we have our own channel there as well. So go and find that. We'll be doing a show tomorrow live on the Strong Style channel as well, catching up all things pro wrestling as well. All right, take care of yourselves. Be well. Have a great Monday. What's up, dude?
Did you see what Haskell put in what I am now going to have to do, right? Look at a couple comments up at what Haskell said I need to do.
Oh, yes. 100%. If you want me to record something for that, I will gladly do a guest spot wearing my Commander's.
I'm gonna need please. I might actually have you do that. I need to. I will send you the script. I just need to find a pig nose, and then and some cloven hooves.
What is this? Anyway, all right, we gotta get out of here. I love you guys. Thanks so much. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll talk to you next time on another brand new episode of Game Time. Peace.